Hello everyone, welcome to Talk About Jesus Everyday Touch. Today we're looking at Matthew chapter 14. Three things I want to highlight from this chapter. Let's start with the story of Herod. He had a feast with dignitaries in attendance, and he asked that the daughter of his wife dance for him. And guess what? He promised her up to half of his kingdom. Boom! When it is written in the scriptures that the heart of a man is desperately wicked, who can tell it? Let's go back to the story. The damsel danced for him and requested for the head of John the Baptist. And the Bible recorded that Herod was sad. That tells me that even though he had arrested John the Baptist earlier, based on his wife's request though, it means he obviously did not plan on killing him. How much more to behead him? Well, he's the king. He had promised. He had to do it. And so she received the head as she requested, which of course was her mother's request actually. What's the lesson I'm trying to bring out from this story? Do not be in a haste to make vows. Do not be in a haste to make promises. Do not be in a haste to make oaths. A man is bound by his words. The Bible records that we that are his own, we are kings and priests unto him. And in different scriptures, books of the Bible, it's recorded that kings are bound by their oaths. Your words are your oaths. You're bound by them. Okay, I'll take you to example number one, Jephthah. Jephthah went to battle. When the battle was so fierce, he made an oath unto God, saying that if you give me victory in this battle, when I go back home, the first thing that comes out to welcome me, I'll sacrifice that to you. I'm thinking probably that never happened before, that his daughter was the first person. But this time, his daughter was the first. And because he's bound by his words, by his oaths, he sacrificed his innocent daughter. Okay, let's talk about the book of Esther, King Ahasuerus. He didn't know that his personal person, his right-hand man, was the bad guy. That same right-hand man had influenced him to make a decree against the Jews, which he had done, only to find out that this, his most trusted right-hand man, was the bad guy. But he is bound by his oaths, by his words, by his decree. So he couldn't overturn the decree. All he asked was that the Jews should come out with all weapons that they have and defend themselves, because he cannot overturn his decree. We are bound by our words. So therefore we shouldn't make haste in making promises, pledges, vows, oaths, especially the vague ones, because the heart of a man is desperately wicked. Point number two. Jesus fed 5,000 men. They didn't count women and children, with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. The multitude had been there all day listening to him, and the evening had come. The disciples said, Master, let's send them away. Evening is here, they are hungry. Jesus said, we can't send them away with empty stomachs. They said, but we don't have anything. He said, what do you have? He said, nothing except for one little lad who has 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. He said, bring it. He blessed it, thanked God for it, and he passed it on. Remember, five loaves of bread 2 fishes, and they passed it around. And Bible recorded that 5,000 men were counted at eighth of that. They couldn't even count the women and the children, and yet 12 baskets were left over. The initial quantity wasn't even up to a basket. 5 loaves of bread and 3 fishes would not have even been up to probably half a basket. But the Bible recorded that 12 leftover baskets after they were all filled up. What's the lesson to learn here? Trust not on what you have, but look unto God. The Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes, say, there is he that gathereth, and he cometh to poverty, and there is he that scattereth, and he cometh to wealth, abundance. The fact that you are left with only 1/4 bag of rice, and unexpected guests are coming and they are not going, does not mean you'll be stranded if you look up to your maker and you provide that which you have for both yourself and your guests to eat. Don't turn back anyone because you think you don't have enough. You think they're invading on your less than enough. You are not the provision. God is the provision. And so look up to your maker for him to provide. If you think that what I have is just enough for myself and my kids for 3 days, we can't afford an extra person. Trust me. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That will last for only 3 days. But whether the guests come unexpectedly or not, you do the best that you can to entertain people, to welcome people, irrespective of their backgrounds. God sees what you have and what you have done, and he blesses you accordingly. Look unto God. There is no impossibility with him. Third thing we want to highlight here, still based on faith, but in a different dimension. This one is on, point number 2 is on provision. Let's look at point number 3, faith again. The subject of faith, I keep saying it over and over. These things cannot be overemphasized. In fact, we'll keep at this until we finish the whole Bible. Okay? That's the whole reason why Jesus Christ came. Faith, hope, love. That's the what do we call them now? The weapons with which Jesus is using to realign us back with God. So point number 3, the multitude are dispersed, and then they were to cross over to the other side. However, Jesus stayed back to pray while the disciples were crossing over. And they were halfway, and suddenly they saw somebody walking on water and coming at them. They panicked again. And Jesus said, do not panic, do not be fearful. It is me, Jesus Christ. Peter said, Master, is that you? He said, yes, it is me. He said, then bid me to come to you. He said, then okay, come. And Peter stepped out of the boat and he was walking towards Jesus Christ on water. But of course, suddenly the storm came. Peter looked at the storm and he was scared and he started sinking. What's the lesson again? At some point in our lives, whether we like it or not, storms will come. The storms of life are inevitable for every human being. It just comes in their different capacity. There are different levels, but storms are inevitable. But when the storms of life come, do not forget your focus, who is Jesus Christ. If Peter had not been distracted to focus on the storms, he would have just kept going to Jesus Christ, and they would meet and they would hold hands and they come in. He wouldn't even realize that he sighted the storm. But he sighted the storm. It's okay, we see the storms, we really cannot unsee them. But he focused on the storm and he started to panic. Your focus is not on the storm. Your focus is on Jesus Christ. So when these storms come, remember what he had done in the past. It doesn't matter if they were little things. Remember them, because he who did the little things, he is able also to do the big ones. So focus on the things he had done, the achievements, all these other smaller storms or battles that you have won. And remember that when you keep your focus on him, he will still do it again. How about us reminding ourselves that he parted the Red Sea for Moses and the children of Israel to pass. Or we remind ourselves that he shut the mouth of the lions, and they instead, my own way, all right, that they were even singing with Daniel, and they were feasting inside of the pit where they were. Or we remind ourselves that he became the fourth man for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and turned the fire into a refrigerator. We can count these things over and over. We can, let's even go to the New Testament, that he healed the sick, that he raised the dead, the blind saw. They are over. Let our focus be on him. Storms are inevitable. They will come. We will pretend, we will assume that they are not there. We pay less attention to the storms and we focus on what is important. Who is important, which is the issue of faith and on the person of Jesus Christ, who have come to reconcile us. We'll end it for now. We'll be talking about Matthew chapter 5 in the next episode. But let's not forget that we are not in haste to make promises, to speak commitments or oaths or whatever. And that Jesus is sufficient for us. Doesn't matter what the pocket has, he's sufficient. And also that storms are inevitable, but they're not important. Our focus is on Jesus Christ. All right, bye for now. Remain blessed. See you in the next episode.